video is about the difference between Pythagorean intervals and just intervals. Usually they're a really small ratio apart. The just intervals are the ones that you find on the harmonics when you go down to the string. There's something there, so there's a fifth, there's a fourth, and that's a major third. Minor third, okay? And you go down. They become a little harder to distinguish, but we'll do this on the lower string. Something there. What is that? Okay, so that is a whole tone. And there's a small version of whole tone as well. So and there's also something similar with the semitone. They're quite a bit harder to hear when you're just doing it this way. And I think you're just going to take my word for it that this is the high version of it, of the semitone. And there's a lower one like okay. So when you're playing melodies, when you're on one string, you try and use the harmonics on a string. But when you go down a whole tone, you end up switching strings. So if you're here and you want to go down a whole tone, unfortunately, the note that you want is actually not one of the ones that's the harmonics on a string. Because if you said that this is C, I'll go down a whole tone to B flat, that's too high. If you play these as the chords, it's this one, it's a little lower. Okay, and you got the same issue with the C chords. If you start here, so A, A, B, G, C. This is all tuned to fourths. The harmonic for C is this one. But if you play in tune with, that's the low version of C, and that's the one that's in tune with the string. So if you're going by the string harmonics, because we tuned it by harmonics, so the top four are tuned to fourths, and then the bottom two are basically the middle two, an octave down. Okay. So when you play melodies, the real minor third, but if you're going to go up to that next string, you'd be up a comma too high, so you got to drop it down a little before you go up to the next one. And what I usually do is I just don't bother picking that second one because I just bend it down a little bit. And when you're going down, you end up playing that lower version of the minor third. And you bend it up a little bit so you can prepare to play one of these other notes on the string that's at a harmonic location. And it does kind of sound like a familiar guitar lick. And you have a similar kind of phenomenon going on when you play quarter tones like this. there's something there. Okay, so okay, so what it basically said so far, I call them quarter tones, but it's not really taking the 12 notes and cutting them in half. It really is a lot like you take a whole tone, you cut it into 9 parts, which is basically Turkish music theory, and it's also very similar to Mozart, where they take a whole tone and cut it into 9 parts, but if you kind of stay really low on the bottom of the neck, whether it's 53 notes per octave, theoretically, or it's 55, doesn't make a whole lot of difference because you're so low on the bottom of the neck. The errors don't really start creeping up until you get all the way up around like where the octave is. And if you were to choose 55, each little imaginary step would be 8180, which is the difference between the string harmonic version and the third. And the one that you get when you string fourths together. That's the low version of it, and the high version of it. And of course, the context in which you play the high version is when basically when you're on that string, you're playing the harmonics on it. But usually when you go to another string, you'll want to go to a minor second, but it's not available because you got to hop to another string. So sometimes you're going to be in the low one. So high one, and the low one would be when I go lower in order to go the string above it. So the frets look like they move around quite a bit when you tune the harmonic series and play fretless, but it's not as crazy as it sounds. Like this melody. All right, and when I did that, I played this. The second, and then I play the high quarter tone when I was coming down from here, and then I play the low quarter tone when I was going up. I should probably bend it like that too. And then I played the high minor third because I was coming from here, basically on the same string. And I played the low minor third because I went up to here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, like 5 locations just like within this one whole tone. So the basic idea is when you're playing, there isn't just one fret here. So lower, and this one has to be a little higher. And if you're going quarter tones, the next one you go up, it actually gets even a little higher than that. So your frets are like straight across for this, but it's more like an angle for this one. So it'd be like. Well, and that's the end of this tutorial. For want to make a video so long I can't post it.